Check the mic and make sure it sound right, boys.
Welcome, dorks, nerds, bookworms, and first-time viewers to the Books by Adrian author platform and our flagship show, Livestream Sunday. If you are new, my name is Adrian Santiago, and I'll be your host today and every Sunday at 4 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, same channel, every Sunday for the next, let's see if this is episode 4. That means we have 12 episodes left in season 3. So 12 Sundays in a row, you can come straight here at 4 p.m. Eastern Standard Time and enjoy some great conversations with some great creative people. Today is no exception. I thank each and every one of you for coming and spending your time and energy here with us. I hope to see you guys in the chat. The chat is subscribers only. So if you want to participate, just hit that subscribe button. And while you're at it, hit that notification bell, drop a like on the video, do all the YouTube stuff because you know it helps us. So do it. Let me see what else. Lastly, the show is a little more structured this season. So we have 3 segments. The first segment is an interview. The second segment is a topic discussion. And the third segment is live chat questions from you guys. So throughout the show, if you have questions for our guests today, leave them in the chat with a big letter Q at the beginning of it. That will help me find it quicker. And so when it comes to that third part, we can find all of those questions and hit our guest up with them as much as possible. So without further ado, let's get into it. This is going to be a really fun one, a very special episode about our guest today. Our guest today is an artist that goes by Odette Bach. And she's got an incredible Instagram feed that you can get lost in staring at her designs. She routinely works with indie authors and other creators to make original character portraits for marketing of their books and other products on social media. So as a customer of her work myself, I can attest to her professionalism and collaborative creative process. I can't wait to talk to her about all of it. So let's just get her out here. Let's all leave some snaps in the chat and welcome Miss Odette Bach. Miss Bach, welcome to Books by Adrian and Livestream Sunday. How are you? I understand we might have some lag with Miss Bach. She's quite literally on the other side of the planet. So she's sending me messages in the chat that it's lagging right now. Hopefully she will jump on as soon as she can. In the meantime, guys, keep in mind that in addition to Livestream Sunday, we also do a podcast. Ms. Bach won't be joining us for the podcast today. So instead, we are going to have David Hopkins with us. And that episode will be available, the video version, on Thursday at 11 a.m. And the audio version is the same day, all day long. I think we have Miss Odette Bach back. Miss Bach. Hey, how are you?
I'm sorry about that.
That's all right. Now, why don't you go ahead and tell my audience here a little bit about yourself, where you are, and what you do, and just whatever you'd like to share.
Okay, so hi. I am Odette Bach. I come from somewhere in Europe. Let's leave it at that. I paint stuff. I paint people mostly. I work with authors on their characters for their books. You can find all my works on my website or on the Instagram, which should be down in the description, I believe.
That's right.
So, yeah, that's about it for introduction, I guess.
She also has a beautiful website. The link is also down below that website. You can take a look at some of her artwork, and it's fantastic. And a very well-made website, by the way.
Yeah, that's thanks to my sister. She's a web designer. So shout out to my sister.
She did a wonderful job. I especially love the little animations. Every time you go over each image, it kind of like zooms in and out and moves in with you. And it's really nice. Very well done.
Yeah, thank you.
So we're going to get right on into it. Miss Odette Bach. We're going to be
Yes.
interviewing you today. When did you first start drawing? Sorry, did you get that? When did you first start drawing?
I'm sorry, I did not hear anything while that animation was going, so I guess that's where I lag.
I'm so sorry. Yes, we were just asking when you guys started drawing,
Yeah.
when you began drawing.
Oh yeah, okay. So as most artists, I guess I will say since I can remember, I've been drawing things. My mom, she used to draw a lot of Disney characters for me and my sister, so I used to copy that. I also used to play VHS tapes of Little Mermaid, and then I pause, and then I try to draw what I see. So
very
it's been
early
kind
on,
of
you were
going
into it.
since I can remember, really.
I imagine
Yeah,
at
since
some
the
point
kindergarten. I always used to just
Wow.
scribble.
Wow. At one point, I'm sure it turned from a childhood interest into a lifelong passion, something that you are pursuing now professionally. Can you talk a little bit about the change of that from something that you do to something that is a part of who you are in everyday life?
Yeah, well, of course, before I used to just draw here and there a little bit, like you said, as a hobby. And then I remember my neighbor, he gave me as a gift my first tablet. And it was some really old tablet, like one of the first ones ever made. So it was like super old. And then when I tried it out, it went instantly into full out obsession. I didn't sleep, I didn't eat, I didn't do anything. I was just sitting and drawing days and days and days on end. And when I used to go to bed, I used to think, oh, I'm going to draw this tomorrow. And then I could not wait just to get up and draw something. And I guess that would be around that time.
You hear about art being a passion, and you experience it even as a writer. You experience a passion in what you do and what you're writing. But that sounds very powerful to me, the way that you're describing it. This sort of like almost like an addict, like you're jonesing for your next hit. Like, I can't wait to draw something. I'm going to draw something tomorrow. That's amazing to me.
It was exactly like an addiction. I used to watch TV, but I totally zone out, and in my mind I just see me painting strokes, drawing lines and colors, and like, okay, I have to go and do it now. I could not do anything else but draw. It was like on my mind all the time.
That's beautiful. Has your art style gone through significant changes or phases?
Well, I mean, let's ignore the Little Mermaid beginnings. But after
Never
that,
ignore the beginnings. That's everything. The beginning.
But that was mostly just like copying what I see. I just see a cartoon or anime and I just try to copy. But then when I kind of started doing on my own, I think the problem, I guess, is that I always leaned towards the portraits and painting people, and the realism has always been a thing. Of course, like the technique changed as my skill went up, things changed, but it always stuck within the realism and the portrait. It was always people and it was always realistic. And I hated that for the longest time. I hated realism, and I really wanted to try something else, like some 2D art, comic book art, something like that. But it just didn't work because I guess I'm leaning naturally towards more realistic things, I suppose. I don't know.
More photorealistic, rather than like a cartoonish or embellishment or whatever. Every artist has a style, obviously. It's part of the artist's journey, right? Figuring out this is what I do. Yeah, like this is what I do it because this is what I do, right?
Yeah, but I really had an issue with that because, again, I didn't like realism. I thought it was so boring, and I didn't know how to make it fun and interesting because, I mean, reality is boring. I mean, let's face it, that's why you guys write. That's why I draw stuff. It is boring just to draw what you see, and I really wanted to make it fun. So eventually I just gave up and I said, okay, this is, I guess, what I do. Let's make it work.
Yeah. but I feel like you have done that. I feel like you, number one, you have made it fun, and you have sort of taken realism and put your style to it. Because you know what, let's show off the portraits that you did for me.
Yeah.
Most recent one I believe was Lear. Let me throw him up on the screen here just so we can talk about what we're talking about. Let me see. All right, so this is one of my three main characters. You also did portraits for Migdalia and for Faye, and I mean,
Faye, yeah.
yes, like a photorealistic style, and yet very identifiably your own. There's a something fantasy like about the way that you do it. You know, so especially when you can, even though it's a digital painting, you can see brushstrokes, and there's something about that really endears me to your work, because it just, you make it look like something fantastical. The avatar that you're using right
Oh.
now in place of your camera is a perfect example. This sort of like mist that's flowing past him, and the way that his hair is blowing in the wind or whatever, it looks like something out of a fantasy book.
Yeah, but it took a while to get there. It
I'm
took a
sure it
while to
did,
get to
yeah.
that point. Yeah.
Yeah, I'm sure it did. So I love the digital artwork, presented on your Instagram. It's incredible. A lot of them you do, as we mentioned, for other authors. What other mediums do you create in, if any? I know you mentioned when you started out you were actually painting. Now you're doing digital art. Anything else? Pencils, oils? What else
Well,
are you do you work on?
I used to do all of it. It's like the problem is now I don't really have so much time. I work with so many clients. It's like every single day, 10 hours. And I don't really have much time to play around with other mediums. But I used to draw in pencils, charcoal, oil, acrylic.
You used to
I
do
used
it
to
all.
do I used to do nail art. I used to tattoo. I used to do 3D origami. I did it all.
Oh, wow. That's
Yeah.
impressive. Do you remember the first piece of artwork that you ever sold?
I think I really don't remember because it was such a long time ago. But I used to do a lot of like random people, real people from the internet. I just find a picture and draw. And I think it was probably somebody who commissioned something for family or something like that. It was such a long time ago. I did not think it was gonna stick, so I
Yeah.
didn't remember. But it was probably somebody's grandparents or something like that.
It's funny, right? Because you'll go to a business sometimes and you'll see framed on the wall the first dollar that, this mom and pop shop ever made. And I always think to myself, like, is that really the first dollar? Like, you had the foresight to be like, I'm gonna save this first dollar.
There's no way.
It's like, no, it's not.
No. Same. I really don't remember. I wish I could remember and find. I don't even if I have it.
Sometimes people ask me what the first story I ever wrote was, and I'm like, I don't know. How could I possibly know that?
Yeah, exactly. Exactly that.
So you mentioned how heavy your workload is. I truly admire how hard you work and how driven you are to continue working. Your portfolio speaks for itself, in volume and quality, excuse me. I know it's not the only thing you do, but many authors come to you and entrust you with their characters, myself included, as we just saw. Where did this collaboration with authors begin? How did that come about?
Well, okay, so this is it was pretty random actually. I used to have a Tumblr account. I used to do a lot of K-pop art. Yeah, K-pop fan art. And I used to get in touch with this girl, Erin Kinsella, which you might know. She's an author of a book, Heart and Soul. And she used to like my K-pop art. And one day she just asked me, "Hey, why don't you do a cast for my characters? Because the setting is in Korea. You paint Korean people. I mean, it makes sense, right?" And then I just, sure, why not? And I've actually had a blast. And I will always remember her characters. And a big shout out to Erin, because she opened this whole new world for me. I did not even know people do that thing. I didn't know you guys even want portraits of your characters. I didn't know that was a thing.
We love them. It's like crack to us. It's one of the biggest rushes as an independent author before your book is out, when nobody else has read it, so nobody else is excited about it.
Yeah.
Seeing your character like come to life in artwork is one of like the biggest highs that you can have. Like when you sent me those portraits, I was bugging out. Everybody
I'm
thought I was
so
so
glad.
annoying. I was showing everybody, Taylor, look at it. You know, it just yeah, yeah.
No,
That's
I'm so
yeah.
glad to hear that. Yeah.
And I'm glad to hear that it sounds like it started with a friend.
Yeah, it started with a friend. We used to be in this. We used to have a Discord group chat, K-pop for adults or something like that. No kids allowed, and it was pretty fun. And it started really. It's not like it was planned. I just did it, and I thought it was gonna be okay. This is a one-off. I'm probably never gonna do it again. But then Jana Moretti, she kind of picked me up, and now we're here.
Yeah, she really blasted you on her channel. That's how I heard about you.
Yeah, that's
Is
how
that you
most
think how
people.
most people? Yeah. She's got a huge audience, man. A huge.
Oh
audience.
yeah, she kind of opened me to so many people.
I'll bet. Yeah. I don't know if I was witness to the first time that you that she hyped you up on her channel, but I definitely remember going to your Instagram afterwards and then going a second time after that, and the sheer number of your followers had skyrocketed. It just
Oh
like
yeah,
jumped overnight. It was crazy.
oh yeah, that's true. And I had so many people, and I used to talk to her on Discord because it's just too many people. I cannot handle this. I don't know how to deal, because that was kind of never my intention. I was just painting and posting online. I never really planned on making something out of it. So I guess things just happen. So they did just happen for me. I was really lucky. A lot of artists, like, they ask me, oh, how do I get into it? And I'm like, I really don't know. I just got lucky. I don't know what to tell you.
That's awesome. Can you walk us through your process, like from beginning stages of the idea to finished product? You don't have to get too specific, but just kind of walk us through like how much goes into it.
Yeah, I can also kind of share some pictures of the kind of whole thing, how it goes stage by stage. Let me just see. But before that, so pretty much it all starts with an author. So they send me the briefs and the descriptions of their characters, the photos that inspire them. Or like, I like this person's face and this hair, clothing, things like that. So I take all of that in, and then I start sketching so I can show how that works. I mean, how that looks.
And then you present them with that like as a part of the process, like they can make changes as you go.
Well, no, not right away. Like, first I do the pencil sketch. And usually what I noticed, a lot of people who are not artists, they cannot see from just lines how it's going to look like in the end.
Right.
So there's like, oh, you change this line here. And I'm like, but that line is not even going to be on the painting. So I noticed that there's no point in just sending the sketch like that. So I kind of, when I'm
Yeah.
halfway there, then I send the updates. But I can show, and then I can talk about it as I share. Okay. So
That
I
makes
don't know
sense.
if this is visible, because
Oh,
it's kind of really light. You can check it out.
alrighty, here we go. It is really light, but if I am bigging it here, and folks at home, you can maximize your video on your screen to get a better look. Yeah. So
Okay.
that's the beginning, like pencil sketches then.
Yeah, that is like the first sketch that I do. And I don't show that because they will
Right.
ask me, oh, but what are these lines on his cheeks? And like, so I don't do that.
Gotcha,
Okay,
gotcha.
so
And that's
after
just
that,
for you, like in the process of it. Yeah.
yeah, they're just for me. I'm combining, they say, like, the eyes that they want, the jawline, the clothing, the hair, kind of how it will go, and things like that. Then I will just go the basic colors. So it's just like the skin tone, the color for the clothing and the hair.
Yeah.
And then the basic shadows. I still don't send it though, because they will complain this is too dark, and I know that's not gonna be there. And
Yeah,
then
they don't see the forest for the trees, so to speak. That they're focusing on these things where you're like, that's not finished yet. That's not how it's gonna look.
yeah, that's right. And this is where I send the update.
Wow.
When I kind of refine it a little bit, this is where I send the update. And at this stage, they usually tell me if there's something that they want changed or something they want me to add or take away. For example, oh, but his hair is too dark, maybe put a little bit more green in the eyes, maybe smaller lips, bigger nose, things like that. Or sometimes they just say, oh, it's fine, just keep going.
Gotcha.
And then for this one, for example, I didn't like the eyes. I think she was fine with this one, but I didn't like it, so I kind of changed it. It was a bit too dark for me.
See,
So
I remember not having very many notes for you throughout the process, but I was also probably like very specific with like the things that mattered to me, and then anything else I was vague about. You know what I mean?
Yeah. But sometimes even if I send and the client is happy, when I later start working on it again, I see that something feels off. So then I have to kind of change it. Like here, I had to change the eyes. Something didn't work. And then I just keep going. And I don't send any of this yet. I pretty much finish the whole thing and then I send it. But the client can still ask for changes. Like if I still didn't get something wrong, of course they can tell me, oh, but the hair is still too dark. Change this, change that. Of course, at this point, I cannot repaint the whole thing. Like
but you can make tweaks and little
yeah, of course.
here and there.
Yeah, of course, I can make tweaks and things like that. So like I'm pretty open when it comes to that. I don't put a cap on my revisions. I mean, as long as it's within reason, of course.
Sure.
But yeah, it usually works out fine as long as the communication with the author works well from the start. If they give me enough information for me to go on, I usually won't have a problem.
What do you think is the best part about working with other creative people like this and creating things for them in this way? What's the best part about it?
Well, of course, I like to read about interesting characters. I read about so many interesting characters and worlds, and some clients, they send me like parts of the book that I can read, so I can kind of get the feel of the cast a little bit better. But I would honestly say the best thing is finding out that I did the good job. Like when they tell me, okay, that is my character, I recognize him, and I'm like, whew, I just get instantly relieved. Even though I've been doing this for a while, I still get really nervous every time I have to send an update, because I have to draw something that you have in your mind.
Yeah.
And I'm going off of words.
Yeah, and these are characters that for many of us have lived in our minds for a very long time. So, we grow very attached to our vision of them. I can only imagine how difficult it must be every now and then working with somebody who sees something completely different from what you were originally seeing.
Yeah. In the beginning, I used to get really shaky about it. I used to panic. Oh my God, what if she thinks that I made them ugly or I don't know what? But now I kind of keep it under control, but I'm still really nervous. So when they tell me, okay, that is my character, I get so ecstatic and I'm like, okay, move on to the next one.
Yeah, it's a pretty big high to like see the image and go, oh, there she is, or there he is. That's who I had in my brain. That's crazy, to be able to just like pluck it out of somebody's mind and put it on a screen. Pretty intense.
Yep. And that is the best thing, really.
You mentioned earlier that you will always remember your friends' characters, the first ones that you ever did for someone. Do you grow attached to any of these characters along the way?
Well, to commission characters, honestly, not so much, because I don't see them as mine. Because they're not mine. I paint them, but they're not mine. And honestly, it would be impossible. Just the number of characters that I do in a year, I cannot possibly get attached to all of them. It would be super unhealthy. but I will remember those first ones because they were my first ones.
Mm-hmm.
And they did start this whole thing that I'm doing now.
I commissioned you for 3 characters, but I wanted a bust and a full body shot of each, and
Yep.
and I was on a tight budget,
Yep.
so I was very pleased to find that you were able to work with me by adjusting what was going to be included in the image in order to keep the price down. So, for example, in mine, we didn't have backgrounds going on or like, any kind of like ambiance, just the characters, because that's honestly all that I actually wanted.
Yeah.
And I, first of all, thank you for working with me.
Yeah, you're welcome. Thank you for hiring me.
You're very welcome. I was very pleased. Can you talk a little bit about how you can do certain projects different ways in order to work with what the author might need?
Yeah, well, again, it all depends on what the client wants. Some of them want a simple portrait, like we said. Some of them want like really busy and detailed. And honestly, I mean, it sucks, but it also depends on the budget. It has to. I mean, the more complex and detailed paintings, they're gonna cost a lot more because they will take me longer to finish. I will have to work a lot more than if it's just a simple thing. So I usually always talk with authors about their budget, and we always come to some kind of agreement. We kind of take away things, add things, and I always really try to make sure that they're happy with what they get. I don't want anybody to feel like they overpaid or underpaid or they got screwed over something. Or so it really all depends on what they want and budget, really.
Right on. Yeah, with all those like different factors, I think that people can find like ways to make it work. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Can you tell us what new authors who would like to commission your art need to know to get started? Not necessarily dollar amounts, but referring more to the do's and don'ts and prep materials and things like that.
Okay, well, first be prepared. I mean, I'm gonna say how, but a lot of people come straight from my website and they don't even read what I have on there. I mean, it's kind of there for a reason. I have everything written on my FAQ, but know what you want pretty much. I mean, sure, we can sit down and work through it together, but it's a lot easier if you have idea in your mind and you just tell me and we just get on with it. The materials that I ask for are character descriptions like age, height is not so much necessary when it comes to a bust. Then skin color, build. Then I really need something about their personalities, like who they are as people, how they interact with their environment and other people. It's really important to know if they're a mean person, a shy person, aggressive, because I paint them differently based on that. Then also, I always ask for image material, like photos of examples for hair and skin color and clothing and eye color and things like that. And that's simply because, for example, say you tell me you want tan skin. My version of tan skin might not be the same as yours. And to avoid that back and forth, a little darker, a little lighter, a little towards the red, yellow, just send me a picture and I'll do it as I see it, pretty much.
Yeah, that makes sense.
Yeah. When it comes to do's and don'ts, I personally don't do well with mood boards. So please don't send me mood boards. I don't know about the other artists, but mood boards are just not my thing. And those collages.
I don't do mood boards either. I don't get them. I don't
Me
understand
neither.
them. They mean nothing to me. I see a mood board and I'm like, keep scrolling. I
Yeah,
don't know.
whatever. Exactly. I know, me too. Like aesthetic collages and things like that.
Yeah.
That tells me nothing. Like, I
Yeah.
don't need that. But yeah.
I'm totally with you on mood boards. I'm so happy to find somebody else like me.
Yeah, there you go. But everybody are so into them. I don't get it.
I don't know. To each their own.
Yeah, and I would say just like trust your artist pretty much, no matter if it's me or somebody else. Just trust your artist, trust the process, be in good mood, and everything is possible if you kind of communicate. So yeah, it's gonna be great.
I can attest to it. It was not only, great to see the characters all done in the end, but the entire process was fun. Getting the updates every couple of days I mean, just it's like Christmas. You open up your phone, you're like, oh my God, I got new images, and you're so excited. It's the best. I wanted to take a quick moment here to address the live chat. I apologize. I'm having some kind of technical difficulty with the chat on StreamYard. I'm unable to throw the messages up on the screen like I normally would. So I'm not getting as much interaction with the chat. I apologize. However, I am still looking at the chat like on YouTube itself, and I will be answering or asking Miss Odette Bach your questions. I just won't be able to throw them up on the screen. But keep them coming. Keep describing them with or keep labeling them with a Q, and I'll find the questions for the third part of our show here. Ms. Bach, how does your scheduling typically work? I remember, once I commissioned you, it was still a bit of a wait before you started on my piece because so many people were ahead of me, understandably so. So any author that's coming to you should know that there's always going to be a bit of a waiting period before she starts on your project. So Ms. Bach, if you could tell us a little bit about how your scheduling works and how much notice an author should give you and prepare for.
Yeah, well, ideally, I would like it to be at least 2 months ahead. I understand that some people have deadlines, but if I'm like contacted at least 2 months ahead of deadline, that would be fine for me. Of course, the earliest you contact me, the better, because again, as you said, I have quite a lot of people, and I can't always just jump on somebody else's project while I'm in the middle of something. Of course, there are a lot of authors that come to me and they need like 1 or 2 portraits and they need it really quick, like next week. Most of the time I'm able to accommodate that, and I kind of do a little bit here and there to make it work. But if it's more characters, like some people have like 10, 15, I just can't. I need to know ahead. At least 2 months ahead would be the best.
Fantastic. Do you work with anyone else besides authors for your commissions?
Mostly private people. I mentioned at the beginning, I used to do K-pop fan art. And I used to do a lot of commissions for K-pop. But now that I'm out of there, it's usually just private people. They want like gifts for their friends and family. I don't post those because I don't feel comfortable posting
Sure, yeah, that's
someone's
something more
gram on my
private.
Instagram. I mean, it's
Yeah.
not cool.
No, I get that. That's more private, whereas a character portrait is something definitely meant to be more public. Yeah, that makes sense. Will you be publishing
Yeah.
an art book or collection of your works in the future? Maybe?
When it comes to commissioned work, I'm not sure. I don't think I will because, again, as I said, they're my paintings, but they're not my characters. I really don't feel comfortable because I don't know. It's like they're somebody else's kids. I can't just post a book with somebody else's kids. It feels weird. But
That makes
when it
sense.
comes to my own art, I'm not sure about my own art. Again, I just painted and all of this happened. I didn't even think about any of this. And then when people ask me, will you publish an art book? I'm thinking, really? Would you even buy that? Like, who wants to buy that? So I really don't know. I'm not thinking about that yet. Maybe. Really?
Oh yeah, are you kidding me? A beautiful
What?
coffee table book that on your coffee table, people come in, they sit down, they pick it up. Oh my goodness, looking flip through these beautiful pieces of artwork. Absolutely, I would. Yes, I'd buy 2 copies,
Maybe.
one for the coffee table, one for the bathroom. 2 copies.
Okay, then maybe just for you.
I think we're going to go ahead and transition to the second part of our show here. So if you'll just allow me a moment. Doesn't get old, people. I love them. Um, Miss Bach, I wanted to talk to you about sequential story art, sequential storytelling. I
Yes.
know that you mostly do portraits, but you do portraits for authors, and
Yeah.
so story is interwoven into what you do. You were talking about your process and how it's more important to know things about the character's mood and personality and the way that they interact with the world. It's more about feeling the character necessarily than you know what kind of cereal they like or whatever nonsense that other
Yep.
people want to tell you. Do you have any interest in sequential storytelling being any means where you tell a story with sequential art like comic books, animation, video games, even honestly movies? If we're talking animated movies, all of these are part of sequential art storytelling. Does any of that draw you into? Is that attractive to you at all?
Yeah, well, I mean, I like anime. I'm really super into anime. I'm into manga. I read a lot of manga and I play a lot of video games. I
Right
do
on.
all of it. Yeah.
Does
And anime
do you
is
ever think
really
about dabbling in there? Like actually working in those mediums?
yeah, actually comic book is like the biggest dream of mine. Like that is the dream. May that one day I'll have my own comic.
I
So
uh, I have a similar dream as well.
yeah, that is like the biggest dream, but it's always like, oh, but there's not enough time. This takes so long. And I'm actually maybe working on someone right now, but it
Oh,
just takes
maybe.
forever. It takes
Yeah.
forever.
Well, especially with a schedule as full as yours. Yeah, it's definitely gonna take forever. I
Oh
mean,
yeah.
most comic book artists do an issue a month. Like
Yep.
it takes a long time to do. Absolutely. And that's if they're not writing it as well. If they're writing it as well, then it's even more time.
Yeah, I pretty much wrote the story. But
Nice.
the drawing is the tricky part because it really takes really long time, and when I'm done with my client work and the life stuff, I'm just so tired. I mean, I try to work on it any chance I get, but I don't get many chances, unfortunately. So it's still just a dream, but we'll see.
Well, keep at it because that would be really really amazing to see a comic book with your art style like just jumping out at us. Oh my god, that'd be awesome. That question, by the way, it was one that I was gonna ask today, but it was also asked in the chat by last week's guest, Alex Wolf. She was asking about if you wanted to ever illustrate your own comic book or web comic, and that's, by the way, another way that you could do that is by doing a web comic. You can do comic strips. You can just do like 4 panels and just put that up, once a month or whatever, and of it, over time, tell a story.
Yeah, well, the web comic is what I'm thinking about. I mean, I'm not that big to go like printed comic. It's just too much work, and I don't think. I mean, I don't know if I'm gonna have like a backing or whatever of people. I don't think people care. But I'm thinking about the web comic. There is like these websites like Webtoons and I f- Tapas or something like that. Lazy. And
Yeah.
there's so many platforms. So I was thinking about that direction for the comic.
I mean, I wish that I could throw some of these chat comments up on the screen so you could see them because they're just singing your praises in there. Here, I'm gonna read
Really?
through. Absolutely, let me read some of these. Aphrodite Lee says she's been waiting for this show all week. Let's see here.
I
She's
know her.
amazing. She says, "Yeah, Aphrodite Lee has worked with you." She says she loved working with you. Um, let's see what else. Beautiful work from author D.L. Tillery. Let's
Thank
see.
you.
See, well, who else? Alex Wolf says, "Wow, I love your style. The realism with fantasy is so beautiful."
Thank you
What
so
else?
much.
Let's see here. We sure do love your character art. That's another one from DL Tillery. Let's see. Odette did Aaron's cover too. So you do book covers as well?
Oh yeah, I do
Ooh.
book covers as well. I did 2 for Arian, and I did a bunch of others.
I might have to come to you for my book cover. All right. Um, let's see. Adam Stevenson showed up. He's loving it. Let's see. What else? What else? There's questions, but we're not there yet. I'm just trying to give you your love letters here. Let me see here. Um, when you were showing your sketches, author DL Tillery was saying that she likes how writers explain to people this is a draft and it's in process, and it's got to be something like that for you. It's like, hey, like this is because
Oh
I do
yeah.
that. I'll show people my chapters and I'll warn them. This is a first draft. Okay, this is supposed to be bad. Okay.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. I always do that. Like, this is really rough. Please don't look for any fine detail and polish. This is going to be really rough and messy.
Yeah, yeah. Oh, Aphrodite Lee is jealous of me. She wants full body versions now. She's
Come to me.
she's
I'm
coming
here.
back. She's coming back. Tamara Wood says she loves your artwork, Odette. Let's
Thank you.
see who else. Candy. Oh, that's a question. We'll get to your question in a little bit. All right. So, and Aphrodite Lee got really excited when you mentioned graphic novels. So you two should maybe partner up or something. I don't even know.
I was actually talking to her about it. She told me that I should do comic for my characters. And I said, yeah, but it takes a long time. I don't know. I'm not sure. So yeah, I guess it's maybe happening now. Maybe.
Well, in lieu of the comic, if that it does take a long time, I resubmit my idea for a nice art book, a nice coffee table book where you whatever original characters are just yours. You don't have to share other people's commissions or anything like that. Just your original characters. I know that you have some original ones, like the one we're seeing on the screen right now. And just throw those into a nice big coffee table book, something where the artwork is nice and
Yeah, that's
big and
Nico.
presentable. Yeah. You don't even have to all you gotta do is print them. They're already made. The artwork's already done. Just throw them in there, print them, and sell them for $70 or whatever you want. People will buy it. I'll buy
Yeah,
it.
but yeah, but if I was to choose which ones, I would be like, this one is not good enough. This one is not good enough, and I will never be happy with it. So you know how it
See, but
works.
but whether or not they're good enough is not up to you. It's up to the people buying your book. So all you have to do is throw them in there. You don't have to worry about whether or not they're good enough. Somebody else will figure that out. That's why art is subjective. The worst pieces of art, there's somebody who's going to put it up on the wall and be like, "That's my favorite." Like
Yeah,
artist's favorite.
yeah, that's true though. Yeah, that is true.
Of course it is. Let's get into the chat questions. I've held off long enough.
Oh God.
There you go again, getting nervous. What are you nervous about?
I don't know.
It's gonna be great. All right, here we go. Let's see. We already talked about comic books. All right, here we go. This one. So the first one comes to us from Miss Alex Wolf, last week's awesome guest. Do you have any advice for someone who is learning to paint digitally? First time.
Well, okay, the thing is, everybody says this, and I know it's boring, but you just have to do it and keep doing it. Like, there is no other thing I can say. Look online for tutorials. There is tutorials for absolutely everything: how to draw hair, how to draw nails, how to draw colors, anything. Like, you can find it on YouTube. It's there. And the thing is, just keep working on it. If I showed you my first digital drawings, it is, oh, I'm so embarrassed. I don't even ever want to look at it. But I mean, it gets better. You just have to keep at it. Really.
That's the same advice that I give people when they ask me about getting started writing. I'm like, just keep writing, man. Keep doing it. Do it as often as you can every day. Learn how to do it and just keep doing it.
Yeah, when I started, I cut out everything: games, TV, everything. I cut out every distraction that I had in my life, and only I was drawing for 20 hours a day. Literally. I'm not saying that that's good. That's super unhealthy. Don't ever do that. Don't ever do that. The point is, like, if you're gonna choose to watch some TV drama or draw, maybe draw.
Yeah, I hear you. Adam Stevenson asked, do you listen to music when you do this? And if so, and if you do, is it linked to the project you're working on?
Yeah, absolutely. Every time. I cannot draw without Music. I simply cannot. That is everything to me, the main source of inspiration. So yeah, it's usually I try to find some songs that work for the characters in my head. I mean, I know you guys all have the soundtracks for your characters, but I have my own for your characters that you don't know about. Because it helps me paint. Yeah, it does.
I wonder, you probably don't remember. I know that you have a lot of clients, but do you remember at all what kind of music you were listening to when you were drawing mine?
I think it was something from this band Spire. I don't know if you know, it's a Japanese band. It
No,
was
but I'll
some
look them up.
rock music. It was
Okay.
rock music, pretty much.
I dig it. I'm
Yeah.
gonna check it out. Alex Wolf sends another question. You have already talked about the fact that it takes a different amount of time for everybody depending on how many revisions and everything like that.
Yeah.
But on average, if the planets align and things go very smoothly, on average, how long does it take you to do one character portrait for a commission? Something with a simple background, just average.
Yeah. Well, as you said, if stars align, if everything is perfect, around 3 days. Like that's about the time. And
From
now,
start to finish, 3
yeah.
days.
Yeah, from when I send the first invoice until I deliver the final painting, around 3 days. Yeah. If
Beautiful.
everything is perfect again.
Yeah. If the planets align, as we said.
Oh yeah.
Let's see. Candy Wilder had asked about about the wait for a commission spot to open. You said about 2 months, to give you about 2 months of a heads up.
Yeah, that's ideal. Of course, again, I say maybe if it's like one portrait, maybe I can fit it in somewhere, maybe two, but like if it's more, please just ahead of time.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
All right. Let's see here. From Cowboy 3991, do you change your working schedule for the clients you work with? I'm thinking about time zone. Okay, so he's asking about, like, do you work at different times of the day because other people are awake at different times of the day?
Yeah. Well, I used to at the beginning, and it was super unhealthy because I'm in Europe. A lot of my clients are from USA, so it was really bad. So lately, no, I don't. I just wake up on my own time, work, and then send, and then when you see it, you saw it. It's pretty much how it goes.
Alex Wolf asks, which is your favorite anime?
My favorite anime. I have a top list. We should be like top 3, but I have like 3 anime per each spot because I cannot decide. But my favorite is this one called the Showa Genroku Rakugo Shinju. And it shares a
Okay.
spot with Pet. Yeah.
Two opposite ends of the spectrum as far as how easy and hard it is.
It is to say. Yeah, I know.
Alex Wolf is also recommending that you do a Kickstarter for either your graphic novel or your art book. Not a bad idea.
Yeah,
We'll
I've
do
been
it,
thinking
people.
about it.
Yeah.
Maybe.
Think about it. This is the show that's gonna bring you like the next phase of your of your professional art career. You're gonna start putting out art books and people are gonna buy them.
Wouldn't that be nice?
It would be wonderful, I think.
I know, amazing.
Let's see here. Another question. Okay, so author DL Tillery asks, have you ever come across a project that made you want to rip your hair out? Maybe the design idea was difficult, for example. So for any reason, but it's something that just like was too difficult. So, and you don't have to name names, just
Okay, of course I will not name names. I'm nice, but oh yeah, of course it has. There have been projects that made me cry, literally. I did not want to get out of bed because I knew I had to get back to them. So I've been through some really tough projects. But hey, I pushed through it. I'm here now. And it's like nothing.
What sorts of challenges come up, in these long stretches where you're doing maybe a whole bunch of characters? Like, what do you say would be the most common thing that you clash with the other creative people with?
Well, it usually happens when people don't trust me enough, and they kind of want to have control over every single thing that I do. They give me like zero freedom. I cannot do anything. Like I cannot add anything, take away anything, change anything. They have like clear vision. I want every single thing that I just told you. I don't want anything more, anything less. Make it work. That is really hard. Like because I have to make it work and I have to be happy with it because my name goes on it, and that is always really hard.
Well, I'll tell you what, I struggle with that. I used to struggle with that myself, with being the one who wanted to control whatever it was, right? And I think you'll remember when I commissioned you to do mine, I gave you my descriptions and told you what I wanted, but for the most part I was like, and you just go with it. Like, you know.
Yeah.
And
I
the
remember
reason that I did that was because excuse me. You know, growing up as a well, in my teen years anyway, I was watching a lot of Kevin Smith movies. Okay, and you know, Kevin Smith is a decent writer, but he's not a you know, an incredible director. He doesn't necessarily have a keen eye for cinematography. So most of his movies would just be the camera standing completely still and two characters in frame talking to each other. It's not very dynamic storytelling. But then one day he made a movie called Red State, and it's the most visually stunning piece of work he has ever made. And when I looked, it was so different from everything else that I had to like look into, like, why is it so different? What did he do differently? And in one of the interviews with him, people were asking him about this movie and why it's so dynamic, and he said, well, because I used to tell people exactly what I wanted them to do. I used to go to the director of photography and say, I want the camera here. And that's where I want it. And I used to go to the sound guy and say, I want it like this. And I used to go to the costumer and say, I want it like this. And for this movie, instead of doing that, what he did was every person that came up to him with a question, hey, how do you want the lighting to go? I hired you to do lighting. Light it. Just light it. However it is that because I trust you, I hired you because you're good. Do your thing. The director of photography, where do you want the camera? How do you want the shot made? I hired you to find me a great shot. Find a great shot. And so he just hired great people that do good work, and he just let them go. He just unleashed them and let them do what they do. And I wish that more authors knew that when working with artists, whether it's for the cover of their book or for character portraits or whatever it is. If you choose an artist whose work you like and you enjoy, you like their style, you think that they're going to bring something great to your artwork, don't like, you know, get your claws in it. Let them go. Like, give them what you want and then let them do what they do, because that's why you hired them, for their creative process.
Exactly, because I always figure, if you came to me because you like what I do, why don't you then trust me and let me do what I do?
Yeah.
But I get it. Again, people are really nervous. It's their book. I get it.
It's their babies. It's their babies.
I know. I get it.
We all do our best. Let's see here. Have a couple last questions. We're almost done for the day here. What artists inspire you?
Well, you will expect me to say some artists, but I'm not going to say, because I don't usually look at art for inspiration, because it's hard for me not to compare myself. It's really hard. And when I look at other art, it usually gets me angry, because why am I not that good? And it makes me work harder, but it doesn't inspire me. What inspires me is the music. It's always the music, and it's always only going to be the music.
Right on. I like that. So your art comes from music.
Oh yeah, every painting that I painted for myself has a title of a song that inspired it. I titled my songs because, I couldn't have done it without those songs. So
very nice, very nice. And how do you deal with creative blocks? You know, writers call it writer's block.
For us it's art block.
Art block, yeah. How do you deal with that?
Well, honestly, up until a few years ago, I didn't even believe in that. And every time people were like, oh, I'm having an art block, I'm thinking, what do you mean? Just paint. But since I started doing commission, okay, now I get it. It's a real thing. Well, I either just sit and kind of force myself to do it. I just sit, okay, now you're going to paint. And somehow I end up painting. Other times when I just like stare at a blank paper for days and nothing happens, I just have to step away, just relax, go watch some anime, watch some documentaries, go outside, feed the birds, do anything else but don't draw. And then when I come back, it gets better. I mean, it's tricky because I work with people, and sometimes it happens while I'm in the middle of a project.
Yeah, and you're on a schedule. You got a deadline and all that stuff. Yeah.
Oh yeah, and then I talk to authors, and they always understand because you guys get those too, so you get it.
Yeah, we totally get it.
Yeah.
What's next for your career, do you think? Where do you see yourself going in the next 5 years with this?
Well, again, chasing the dream of a webcomic. I mean, I'm going to try. The plan is to get to some milestone by the end of the year. I have like a milestone in my head that I want to get to with my comic. So that's kind of the plan. Hopefully it works out. So that's the next thing that I'm focusing on, like aside from all the work that I have.
Do you have anything else that you would like our audience at home to know before we sign off tonight?
Well, no, just thank you all for coming. I don't know how many of you are there or what they're even saying, but thank you. Thank you.
Yeah, sorry about that. Normally you would know. I don't know what's going on.
I think it's better. I would be super nervous if I knew. I'll check it out later.
They were singing your praises.
Yeah, thank you so much for that. And I have to say thank you for inviting me.
My pleasure. It was my
It's
pleasure.
my first time. I hope
interview.
I was, yeah, all right.
You were great. You were a natural. You did
Oh,
great.
really?
Absolutely. You can name one point where something went wrong. You were great.
I don't know.
All right. Everybody is loving you in the chat. They're all saying goodbye, and I adore you, Odette. And that's coming from Aphrodite Lee, not me.
I love you too, girl.
She says she loves your eye. So
my eye?
Yeah,
Okay.
just letting you know she loves your eye.
Oh, thank you so much.
She says that you took what she gave you and brought them to life in your style. So, yeah.
I'm really glad. Yeah.
Folks, thank you so very much for being here today. Thank you once again, Miss Odette A. Bach. All of her links are down below. You guys can go check out her artwork, hire her. She will make beautiful pieces of artwork for you and bring your characters to life in beautiful, beautiful ways. All right, guys, leave a like, leave a comment down below letting us know what your favorite part of the live stream was today. What question was your favorite, or if you have any questions that we didn't get to, throw them in the comments, and I'll make sure that Miss Bach comes back around and takes a look at later on. I know that we have a review, a rewatch audience throughout the week, so we'll keep coming back and checking that out. Guys, now I'm going to go off and record a podcast with Mr. David Hopkins. You can expect that on Thursday. The video version goes live at 11 a.m. right here on this channel. And the same morning, the audio versions will be available on Apple Podcasts and Spotify. So be there for that. Mr. David Hopkins is doing some very aggressive marketing over there. We're going to talk to him about it. It's going to be great. Okay, guys, Ms. Bach, thank you again. And everybody have a great day. We're signing off.
It sound right, boys.